Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons and Ritual, and I'm here to talk about this beautiful dark moon in Cancer that she went into her dark moon phase last night. She was at 3 degrees. The moon was at 3 degrees, the sun was 3 degrees, both in Cancer. I just looked at it and she has moved to 5 degrees and the sun has moved to 4 degrees. So they're still in conjunction. And she's still dark. So probably by the end of today, she will start going into her new moon phase. It just depends if we can see her tonight or not. But to me, the new moon is when you start to see that sliver. Dark moon, of course, is when she is conjunct with or exactly conjunct with the sun. So if you look at your moon app, it will still say 0 degrees of illumination, which is a dark moon. So happy dark moon in Cancer. I wanted to touch on a couple things about this. So yesterday, the sun was at 3 degrees. The sun was at 3 degrees. Jupiter, who is in Cancer, is also at 3 degrees. Or is he at 2 degrees? Hold on, let me pause you guys. Okay, yes, Jupiter was at 3 degrees and the sun was at 3 degrees. So we had a cazimi. And that is when the sun and a planet are conjunct at the same degree. And for some reason, I mean, cazimis obviously have already existed, but the astrological community is always about cazimis now. I mean, they were always there, but they didn't mention them as much. And it's just kind of how things go, where in circles, people start to place their attention and energy on different things because we're all fighting for your attention in spaces. So, but what I wanted to say is that I saw, yesterday a lot of astrologers saying, these are the best days of the year. These are the most magical times of the year. These are the most powerful days of the year. And again, I just want to say, if you're not feeling it, or let's say you come across their reading, a month later or a week later, and you're like, damn, I missed those days. You don't have to feel like that. Okay. Yes, energetically, astrologically, these are big energy signatures, right? But there's always going to be another Kazemi, okay? And you can always, if you want to take a couple of deep breaths and say, okay, I would like to go back to the energy of June 24th, you can do that, right? You can time's not linear, as they say, right? And so you can go back and you can feel into your heart and feel the energy of the Jupiter Cazimi while it was in Cancer. And you can sit with that energy and you can meditate with that energy. You can manifest with that energy. But I just want to tell you, it's really important, again, to trust how you're feeling. And if you're having a day and someone's screaming at you like, this is the best day of the year, and you just don't feel awesome, or you're like, meh, 5 out of 10, it's okay. It's important to get into your rhythms, see how you feel. And then, if someone's yelling at you, aren't you excited? And you're not, maybe it's a good time to ask yourself, why am I not excited? I have I have a friend, she's a really good friend, she's going through radiation, kind of tired, All right. But got a friend who just got engaged over the moon, right? We're still in this earth. We're still going through our days. We're still going through challenges. So again, if I can stress anything, it is to do what's best for you. You can always go back to the energy of the Kazemi. Um, people, when they talk about astro, they go forward too, so the world's your oyster, time's your oyster. So just make sure that you are feeling into yourself and see how you feel. I will say this, because Jupiter is in Cancer and the sun was there, we should start feeling some sort of optimism. We should start understanding and feeling, especially in Cancer season, that there are things we do know how to navigate a lot better than we did before, right? I was talking to my friend who runs a market, and um, the idea is, he's got the right people in place. Um, the energy's good. Is there always going to be something to do? Is there always going to be probably something broken? Is there always? Yes, but that optimism's there. Um, the idea that, okay, we've traveled some rocky waters, we can start doing this, right? And that's really important, and it shouldn't be hard to tap into that too much because of Jupiter's expansion. And that's why it's really important if you are having a bad day, um, if you are maybe in a tough spot, this is a good time to make sure you're talking to somebody or reaching out because Jupiter expands. And we want to catch things when they're at a spot where we're like, okay, let's work on this, right? We want to go more into the expansion of like healing, abundance, maybe calmness, maybe centering, instead of spiraling the other way, which sometimes happens, friends. Sometimes it happens. But there's a lot of ways now that we can uh, tap that down and to get things moving in the other direction. So be really aware of that because, again, Jupiter's in Cancer for a year, right? So we want to expand on the abundance of all the high points of Jupiter, which is our intuition. I mean, the high points of Cancer, excuse me, which is our intuition, which is creating safe spaces, which is creation, but initiating all these good things. And I don't know if you guys were keeping up with the New York Mariel's race, um, but the 33-year-old won most of the votes. And I'm not versed in all this stuff, so I have not done a deep dive into this man's politics. Um, I'd say don't come at me in the comments. So I don't know everything about him, but I will say the optimism that he was bringing is what people need, right? And again, we talk about a tale of two cities or a tale of two energies between old toxic masculinity versus divine masculinity. And again, look, I don't know, he's still got to run against a Republican or whoever the other side puts up and he could win and he could crash and burn. I don't know, okay? But just from the surface right now, um, someone who is speaking from a place of wanting to help others versus the other candidates who had been there before, have obviously allegations against them about sexual misconduct, and it's just like that old patriarchal system versus this, I don't want to say versus, I guess, but I guess you could say versus this new energy that's coming in that wants to help and get things done, right? It's very stark. It's very clear. And again, you guys, apparently he said some things that might be misconstrued um, as anti-Semitic. So I really don't know him. I don't know. Other people said that's not what he meant. I don't know, right? But his overall message, he was out in the streets with the people. He's a good, he speaks well, but his idea of like having a free grocery store or, things like that are helpful to the whole. That's that optimism that wants to be there. So I don't want to get stuck on a lot of the other stuff about this, but I was just watching this last night and everybody was so shocked because of the numbers that he pulled in, right? But you guys, it's about vibes. You want to have those good vibes versus those lower vibes because we saw, you know, okay, vibes are vibes, right? They both hold energy. They will both move things through. And so there's good vibes that move things through, and there's bad vibes that move things through. So you want to kind of decide which level of vibe you want to be on, right? And sometimes we're feeling good and we're at a high vibe. Sometimes we're kind of feeling low on a low vibe. But that's why it's important to see what we're thinking about. That's why it's so important to see what we're ingesting with music, with what we watch with what we listen to, with how we speak, right? Because the more we're aware of what vibe we are um, emitting and attracting, then that's going to get us to, move quicker. And that's really important with this Jupiter in Cancer. The moon um, being in Cancer right now for the next couple days, she's exalted, she's at home, so take this time. If you can be quiet with yourself, be quiet with yourself. In moon school, we're quiet with ourselves with these dark moons. And then when the moon starts to get a little bit bigger, that's when we start thinking about what it is that we want to work on this moon cycle or pay attention to this moon cycle. Um, and so I suggest the same with you. Again, we want to start looking for that optimism here in Cancer season. We want to see what we can start initiating. We also need to see, that was the other thing. Jupiter and Saturn are still in their square, so there's still going to be challenges. I was looking through the next couple days. There's a lot of quincunxes coming in, and that is pressure um, coming in as well, especially with, I think Mars is in a quincunx today. But these things they'll move pretty quickly. I think the sun's in a quincunx today and the moon's in a quincunx today with Jupiter. No, no, not with Jupiter, with Saturn and with Neptune. But the moon and the sun, they move quickly, right? So if we're having kind of some pressure today, it's going to move out, right? And that's why it's important to keep checking in with yourself. It's kind of keep checking in with, am I thinking about this because of what's going on, or am I thinking about something else that's making me pissed off, right? Stay present, which we can do, but this is such a good time because it's Cancer season to be really kind of hyper focused on our emotions, um, which isn't as tough as it may seem. At first, you might think I'm a mess, but then once you kind of say it's okay, we can do this. We're checking in with our emotions today. You'll start to see that you're not a mess, right? You'll start to see that, oh, I realize when I listen to this or hear this person talk, I hold my breath and then I start to get worked up, right? If you can remember to keep breathing, we're going to be okay. So, just be prepared with that. People yelling, these are the best days of our lives. If you don't feel it, it's okay. The energy is there, though. The energy is there. You can always tap back into it. I think that's the message for this dark moon. Be calm, check in with your feelings, understand the optimism's here, understand change is here. We've been talking about change for so long, but it is here now. But there, we were kind of like getting warmed up. It is here now. Um, and understand that the things that you were having trouble navigating, you should be able to navigate a lot better. And have that kind of confidence that you can do it. And one of that is because we are in Cancer season and we're initiating things that feel right to ourselves and feel right to our souls. When before we would kind of grit our teeth and go through it. And we're in this time of shift. So it's easier for us to show up more authentically, and that's not going to go away. That's not going to then, you know, next week leave. But remember, we are in the square between Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter is in Cancer, which is at home, and Saturn is in the Aries, which is the self, right? It is this time to start building the way that we want to feel in the home that we like, that makes us feel good, that makes us feel safe, um, that makes us feel optimistic, that makes us feel ready to take the day. But also if we need a retreat from the day, we have a good place to go that we know we can. Okay, whether that's just in the body, you go sit on some grass, take some deep breaths, take a break, go back in, or if it's going to a physical place and you can chill out from there too. So we can work with these energies for this moon cycle for Cancer for sure. So, okay, friends, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this dark moon as we get into the new moon. We got this. It is okay to feel optimistic. It's okay too if you feel 5 out of 10. You'll get to a 6, 7, and 8. Because again, energy is moving really fast on the planet. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out. Leave comments below, like, subscribe, tell all your friends, all those things. If you're in New Orleans tonight, I will see you at the Secret Flower Shop from 7 to 9. It's on Camp Street. We're going to be doing a little Twilight Tarot, so we'll start getting that up and running. I hope to see you guys there.